Okay. So BB, you want me to? Okay. BB, what's your favorite camp memory?
Favorite camp memory? Probably be the first time I saw Oscar. So, you want me to start at the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. When I was 12 years old, my uncle. Oh, not that far. Okay, never mind. So, last weekend, Saturday night, I was kind of chilling in camp and I wanted to go down for a swim. So, I'm laying on the beach after I went for a quick little swim and I saw some bubbles out in the out by the dock. So I started swimming outwards. It was starting to get a little late, but I was adventurous. So I started swimming outwards, naked. And so I got to the dock, and there was more bubbles, and it seemed like they were getting bigger. So it didn't seem like it was a fish. I thought it was a fish at first, but they started becoming bigger, and there were more bubbles, and it was weird. I was very confused. Out of nowhere, a head pops up right in front of me, and it's Oscar. It's a dolphin. And I heard rumors about him and legends, but I didn't believe anything until now. I was frozen and I was in shock. I was just kind of staring at him, and I was, treading water there, looking into his eyes, and he had seaweed on his nose, and he kind of nudged it towards me, and somehow, I don't know how, he wrapped the seaweed around my neck, and when it got around my neck, I took it as a scarf, and so I tightened it, and to make it a little more comfortable. I had trouble breathing at some points, but it's not important at all. And so when I started to, my breathing started to change a little bit. So I ducked under the water, and I gasped for air accidentally, and I could breathe underwater. So I could take full gasps underwater, right? Yeah. So I was swimming underneath the dock. I was having fun. And I completely forgot about Oscar. And I look over, and Oscar is just kind of swimming there watching me have fun now that I can breathe underwater with my seaweed scarf. And he looks at me, looks into my eyes, and says, "Mount me." So I look into his eyes, I grasp his dorsal fin, jump on his back, and I rode his back majestically into the depths of the underground city that he leaned back and whispered into my ear while I was naked. Whispered into my ear, "This is called Dolphintopia." And so, as we rode down, I slowly started to gain his trust. It was kind of odd that he was a talking dolphin, but I kind of got used to it, And so when we went down, we started to gain my trust. I started to gain his trust. We had a lot of, man-to-man bro time on the way down. And so, on the way down to Dolphintopia, we really almost became friends. It was very far down. It was very deep. I wasn't expecting it. It was at least a quarter mile deep, which I wasn't expecting Lake Speaker. So when we got to Dolphintopia, there was algae on buildings. It was majestic. It was beautiful. There were buildings everywhere. And so I'm swimming, riding Oscar's back, swimming through these buildings and in and out, and I'm looking at these tall buildings. There's lights everywhere. There's dolphins swimming everywhere, and there's houses, there's buildings, there's churches, and so he swims to his house, and his house was kind of it was about 100 yards or so outside of Dolphintopia, and when we got to his house, he introduced me to his family, his mother, his father. And then, his sister walked in, or swam in, I apologize. His sister swam in. And one word came to my mind when I saw her. Damn. Just straight damn. As I looked into her eyes, her silky, smooth dolphin skin, it was weird. I was weirdly attracted to a dolphin. I didn't know what to do, but it felt so natural. So I just kept staring, and I think Oscar noticed this, but I just kept rolling with it. So I kept staring at his sister, and introduced to his family, and we kind of got closer, and they started accepting me. I felt more of like a pet to them, but they really started to accept me as part of their family. And so I spent a couple nights in their house. We played multiple games of croquet out in their front yard, Dance Dance Revolution, and hours of Bop It. So after days with his sister name was Trixie, by the way. After days of spending with Trixie, I slowly started to fall in love. Every time I'd look at Trixie, my heart would skip a beat. So I started to fall in love with Trixie, a dolphin. But it all felt so natural still, even though she was an animal, but yet I was. So, as I grew closer to Trixie, she mentioned that she had dated a shark back in her day. Not the best shark, but he was kind of a troublemaker, and he always kind of texts her late for some late night booty calls, and she always refuses no. But and she was telling me this while we sat on the beach in Dolphintopia, and so a text appears on her phone, and she opens it up, and it's the shark. And she said no, it was a late night booty call again. So she said no, and he refused and came over anyways. So we were at her house alone, just me and Trixie, and the shark came up. So I shoved his own dorsal fin up his ass and made him into a pair of fashionable rain boots so my feet won't get wet. So after that took all night. Trixie looked into my eyes afterwards, and
You need a large shirt.
Oh, interruption. Okay, so Trixie looks into my eyes and launches herself at me. Just straight up launches herself. And watermelon, 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 watermelon. Watermelon, 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 watermelon. So the next morning, I awake to conch shell horns and joyful cheers outside my window, and Trixie is gone. She's not inside. She's not under the covers of the bed, and I kept hearing this cheering, and there's horns going on and trumpets, and I look out the window. There's confetti. There's pearls flying. There's seaweed streamers everywhere. So I make my way outside the door, and somebody addresses me at the front door, and there's a big parade going on. Somebody addresses me at the door and informs me that the shark that I had killed the night before was actually an evil drug lord running the streets of Dolphintopia, selling drugs such as crystal meth, cocaine, and a well-known drug down in Dolphintopia soon became known as bubbles. I blew some bubbles once. Have you ever shoved a sea urchin up? Never mind. Okay, no. So as I exited the door, I was forced onto the celebratory orca, and we swam through the city. There's parades going on, people cheering, people chanting, "BB, BB," all chanting that I'd finally destroyed their evil drug lord that ran Dolphintopia. I was decorated in seaweed wreaths and other honorable deep sea attire, naked. So after a few days, I started falling deeper in love with Trixie. And one day we got married and had 2 kids. Time went by, time flew by down in Dolphintopia. I love Trixie and my 2 kids. But after a week or so, I started to miss my land family a little bit. My land friends back at camp and my land family, I started to get that gut feeling. I wanted to go home, but yet I was home. But I wasn't home. It's very strange, but I had the gut feeling that I needed to go back. They missed me. So, during my grieving stage, Trixie had also started a bad habit of blowing bubbles. The very drug that her ex-boyfriend had, sold. My sex life went straight downhill. but that's not important. So during my grieving stage, she started going through this, and I didn't know what to do, and I took that as a sign that I needed to leave. So I canceled the insurance, burnt down the house with Trixie, my mother-in-law, my 2 kids, Flippy Jr. and Shrimp Pepe, and swam to the shining world above. As I swam to the surface, everything just went black. I started to reach the surface. I was almost there, and just everything just went black. I awoke to the majestic sight of Jeremy Stokes in his Speedo leaning over me, resuscitating me, as I gazed into his beautiful eyes, naked. I saw out of the corner of my vision, out in Lake Speaker, twinkle. And I knew it was Oscar. Calling for me. Remembering. That's it. That is my favorite camp memory.
He's still filming.
Stop it. I know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do right now.
You know how I always finish my stories, like, and that's how I got this bullet hole.
And then I found a quarter. It was the best Christmas ever!
And then he woke up in a crack house.
And I was naked that whole time. And I was naked.
He's still filming.
Most
Naked.
part.
He is? Oh.
Most
Okay.
part.
Holding the camera.
Watermelon.
Naked.
Watermelon, watermelon, watermelon. Watermelon, watermelon.
You forgot to do.